Are you new to Palworld, or maybe, looking to start over and need a couple of tips to help out your early game? So, these are my 5 tips for early game in Palworld. Early game to me is considered, up to level 20. You need to get through that fairly quickly, because if not, that early stage right there, the first 20 levels, is kind of where things can go slow enough to where you may lose interest in a survival game. And that's been the case for me in previous games, and that may have been the case in Palworld if I wouldn't have been playing with my wife the first time I ever played through. So, this is my first tip: chain catching. Now, chain catching is basically catching the same pal over and over again. In Palworld, you get an XP bonus for the first 10 you catch of each pal, and going off those catch bonuses is going to help you level up very quickly. When I tried to test out how quickly I could go through up to level 20, I mostly used this method, and I got up to level 20 in about 6 hours. Now, I also got sidetracked and was looking around doing some other things. I personally believe if you focused hard on just catching a bunch of pals and, getting 10 every time you come across a different pal, then you could possibly get to level 20 in about 4.5 hours. And then, other than chain catching, the next thing that you want to do is you want to get a base built. Now you're going to need a base so you can uh set up your bench and whatnot, so you can craft your pal balls, which is going to help you with tip one with the chain catching. You're going to need lots and lots of pal balls. That means you're going to need to set up a base. You're going to need to look for resources. Now, choosing where you set up your base can help out this process and make it even quicker. If you can find a base where you can put your pals to work and they can get the resources necessary to make pal balls, then that's less time that you're using to craft pal balls, which means you can do the catching and leveling even quicker. Now, other than trying to level up quickly, my tip number 3 is you need to explore. You may die a few times throughout you may die a few times throughout kind of exploring through, but if you can't just stay in the one area, you're going to run out after the the beginning area. I think only has maybe 4 or 5 different pals, and one of them is going to be really difficult to catch right at early game. That being the, I know I can never say it right, but the Icather deer. I just call it the deer. So that one's fairly hard to catch early game. So you may not catch very many of those right off the bat, but all throughout the game, there's going to be easier. There's going to be lower level pals in each area. Now, there's also going to be higher level pals in those areas as well that could potentially, one shot you and end you. So that's why going back to build your base, need to have your storage so you can, if you're wanting to go out on what I call it going out on an expedition. So, you want to put up a lot of your more important things that you're not going to be able to recraft very easily. And if you find a special, a lucky pal, or you have just a pal that was difficult to catch, you may not want to take them with you in case you get killed. And then you will have you'll have a low chance of getting that pal back and, recovering all of your items. So leave a lot of your stuff at camp if you are going out to explore and you basically plan on not making it back. So while you're out exploring, one of the things you need to do is make sure and get the fast travel points. That's that's one of the best things to do in this game, especially early on, is just to get fast travel points. That way, you can just drop into different areas. They're going to have resources that you need for later on in the game. Go out exploring, get the fast travels, and that takes me to my next early game tip, which is pick up the eggs. When you're in an area, especially if you're far away from where you normally are, there's different pals around, and they're too high of a level for you to catch. Pick up all the eggs in the area, because you have a very good chance of those different pals that you can't catch. You can hatch them once you get leveled up high enough to where you get egg incubators, and you get to that portion of the game. I've hatched multiple pals that I have not seen anywhere in the game yet. So always pick up eggs. You never know what you're going to hatch out of random wild eggs. And you could end up hatching something that is going to speed up your progression even more than what any tips can. Also, kind of go back to 3 and 4. You need to look for the Liftmonk effigies, because you are going to use those with your Statue of Power. That's going to help your catch rates. And that's very, very, very important. You have to get your catch rates up, or you're going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to catch almost any of the new pals. No matter how good of the balls you have, it's still going to be very difficult. So when you're out exploring for new pals, make sure you pick up the eggs, you pick up the effigies, all of those things. Those are, if you've been playing for a while, it sounds like a no-brainer, but this is for those of you that have never played really any survival game. If you're very new to survival games in general, that's I'm trying to give you some advice. You're going to die. It's okay. You're going to lose loot. It's okay. That's part of it. You're going to get it back. It'll be okay. I don't even know if I did 5. You go through there, count off. I may have said 4. I may have rolled 2 together. I may have said 7. What have you. But those are my early game tips for Palworld. So if you have any more tips, leave them down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these tips. Did it help you out maybe? Or am I completely off base and everything I said was factually wrong? Either way, let me know down in the comment section. Like and subscribe. I feel like I'm going to make a lot more Palworld content, because this is the most fun I've had in a game since Baldur's Gate 3. Who would have guessed that two, smaller companies that I've never heard of either one are going to make just banger games in back-to-back years that really upsets the big gaming landscape? Who would have thought it? Alright, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.